And it came to be that Judah left his brothers and turned aside to a man, an Adulamite, whose name was Hira. And Yehuda saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shua. And he took her and went into her, and she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name And she conceived again and bore a son, and she called his name Onan. And she conceived yet again and bore a son, and called his name Shelah. And he was at Kazib when she bore him. And Yehuda took a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Yehuda's firstborn, was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, and Yahweh took his life, not his wife. And Yehuda said to Onan, go into your brother's wife and marry her, and raise up an heir to your brother. And Onan knew that the offspring would not be his. And it came to be, when he went into his brother's wife, that he spilled on the ground, lest he should give an offspring to his brother. But what he did displeased Yahweh, so he took his life too. Then Yehuda said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, remain a widow in your father's house until my son Shelah is grown. For he said, lest he also die as his brothers did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. And after a long time the daughter of Shua, Yehuda's wife, died. And Yehuda was comforted, and went up to his sheep shearers at Timnah, he and his friend Hira the Adulamite. And it was reported to Tamar, saying, see, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep. And she took off her woodless garments, and covered herself with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat at the entrance to Enaim, which is on the way to Timnah. For she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given to him as a wife. Yehuda saw her, and reckoned her for a whore, for she had covered her face. And he turned aside to her by the way, and said, please let me come in to you. For he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, what do you give me to come in to me? And he said, let me send you a young goat from the flock. And she said, do you give me a pledge until you send it? So he said, what pledge should I give you? And she said, your seal and your cord and your staff that is in your hand. And he gave them to her, and went in to her, and she conceived by him. And she arose and went away, and removed her veil, and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Yehuda sent the young goat by the hand of his friend the Adulamite, to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he did not find her. And he asked the men of this place, where is the cult prostitute who was beside the way to Enaim? And they said, there was no cult prostitute in this place. And he returned to Yehuda and said, I have not found her. And the men of the place also said that there was no cult prostitute in this place. And Yehuda said, let her take them for herself, lest we become despised. For I sent this young goat, and you have not found her. And it came to be about 3 new moons after, that Yehuda was informed, saying, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has whored, and see, she is conceived by whoring. And Yehuda said, bring her out, and let her be burned. When she was brought out, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, by the man to whom these belong, I am pregnant. And she said, please examine whose these are, the seal and the cord and the staff. And Yehuda examined and said, she has been more righteous than I, because I did not give her to Shelah my son. And he never knew her again. And it came to be, at the time for giving birth, that twins were in her womb. And it came to be, when she was giving birth, that the one put out his hand. And the midwife took a scarlet thread and bound it on his hand, saying, this one came out first. And it came to be, as he drew back his hand, that his brother came out. And she said, how did you break through? This breach be upon you. So his name was called Peretz. And afterward his brother came out, who had the scarlet thread on his hand. So his name was called Zerach. Okay, our next chapter is going to be in Isaiah. Let's try to find that. Isaiah chapter 38. In those days, Chizkiyahu, Hezekiah, was sick and near death. And Yeshayahu the prophet, the son of Amoz, came to him and said to him, thus said Yahweh, command your house, for you are going to die and not live. And Chizkiyahu turned his face toward the wall and prayed to Yahweh and said, I pray, O Yahweh, please remember how I have walked before you in truth and with a perfect heart, and have done what is good in your eyes. And Chizkiyahu wept bitterly. And the word of Yahweh came to Yeshayahu, saying, Go and say to Chizkiyahu, Thus said Yahweh, the Elohim of David your father, I have heard your prayer, I have seen your tears. See, I am adding 15 years to your days. And out of the hand of the sovereign of Ashur I shall deliver you in this city, and protect this city. And this is a sign to you from Yahweh, that Yahweh does his word, which he has spoken. See, I am bringing the shadow of the sundial, which has gone down with the sun on the sundial of Achaz, 10 degrees backward, and the sun returned 10 degrees on the dial by which it had gone down. This is the writing of Chizkiyahu, sovereign of Yehuda, when he had been sick and had recovered from his sickness. I said, Am I to go into the gates of Sheol in the prime of my life? Shall I be deprived of the rest of my years? I said, I shall not see Yah in the land of the living. I shall no longer look on man with the inhabitants of the world. My dwelling is plucked up, taken from me like a shepherd's tent. I have cut off my life like a weaver. He cuts me off from the loom. From day to night you make an end of me. I soothe myself until morning. Like a lion, so he shatters all my bones. From day to night you make an end of me. Like a swallow or a thrush, so I chattered. I moaned like a dove. My eyes looked weakly on high. O Yahweh, I am oppressed. Undertake for me. What do I say? For he has spoken to me, and he himself has acted. Softly I go all my years, because of the bitterness of my being. O Yahweh, by these do men live, and my spirit finds life in all of them. Restore me and make me live. See, for peace I had what was bitter. But you have lovingly delivered my being from the pit of corruption, for you have cast all my sins behind your back. For Sheol does not thank you, nor death praise you. Those who go down to the pit do not watch for your truth. The living, he is praising you, as I do this day. A father makes known your truth to his children. Yahweh, come to save me, and let us sing my songs with stringed instruments all the days of our life in the house of Yahweh. For Yeshayahu had said, Let them take a cake of figs and apply it on the boil, so that he lives. And Chizkiyahu asked, What is the sign that I go up to the house of Yahweh? O Yahweh, do not rebuke me in your wrath, nor chastise me in your hot displeasure. For all your arrows have pierced me, and your hand comes down on me. This is Psalms 38. There is no soundness in my flesh because of your rage, nor peace in my bones because of my sin. For my crookednesses have passed over my head like a heavy burden, too heavy for me. My wounds have become stinky, festering because of my folly. I have been bent down, I have bowed down very much. All day long I have gone mourning, for my loins have become filled with burning, and there is no soundness in my flesh. I have become weak and greatly crushed. I howled from the groaning of my heart. Yahweh, all my desire is before you, and my sighing has not been hid from you. Okay, let's change the page. My heart is throbbing, my strength has forsaken me, and the light of my eyes also is not with me. My loved ones and my friends stand back from my plague, and my neighbors stand far away, and those seeking my life lay a snare. Those seeking my evil have spoken of destruction, and utter deceit all day long. But I, as one deaf, do not hear, and as a dumb one who does not open his mouth. I am like a man who does not hear, and who has no rebukes in his mouth. For on you, O Yahweh, I have waited. You do answer, O Yahweh my Elohim. For I said, otherwise they would rejoice over me. When my foot slips, they would exalt themselves over me. For I am ready to fall, and my pain is always with me. For I confess my crookedness, I am sorry over my sin. But my enemies are alive, they have become strong. And those hating me falsely are many, and those who repay evil for good, they oppose me because I follow what is good. Do not forsake me, O Yahweh, O my Elohim, be not far from me. Hasten to help me, O Yahweh, my deliverance. Okay, and our last chapter is going to be Mark chapter 10, which I have a marker here, so let's just go with using that. Okay, and rising from there, he, I think that's Yeshua, came into the borders of Yehuda by the other side of the yard, and crowds gathered to him again, and as he usually did, he was teaching them again. And Pharisees came and asked him, Is it right for a man to put away his wife? Trying him. And he answering said to them, What did Moshe command you? And they said, Moshe allowed a man to write a certificate of divorce and to put her away. And Yeshua said to them, Because of the hardness of your heart, he wrote this command. However, from the beginning of the creation, Elohim made them male and female. For this cause, a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh, so that they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what Elohim has joined together, let man not separate. And in the house his taught ones asked him again about this again. And he said to them, Whoever puts away his wife and marries another commits adultery against her. And if a woman puts away her husband and marries another, she commits adultery. And they were bringing little children for him to touch them. But the taught ones were rebuking those who were bringing them. And when Yeshua saw it, he was much displeased and said to them, Let the little children come to me, and do not forbid them, for of such is the reign of Elohim. Truly, truly, I say to you, whoever does not receive the reign of Elohim as a little child shall certainly not enter into it. And taking them up in his arms, laying his hands on them, he blessed them. And as soon as he was setting out on the way, one came running and knelt before him, and asked him, Good teacher, what shall I do to inherit everlasting life? And Yeshua said to him, Why do you call me good? No one is good except one, Elohim. You know the commands, do not commit adultery, do not murder, do not steal, do not bear false witness, do not rob, respect your father and your mother. And he answering said to him, Teacher, all of these I have watched over from my youth. Alright, I just put the flash on, hope that helps. And Yeshua, looking at him, loved him, and said to him, One matter you lack. Go, sell all you possess, and give to the poor, and you shall have treasure in heaven. And come, follow me, taking up the stake. But he, being sad at this word, went away grieved, for he had many possessions. And Yeshua, looking around, said to his taught ones, How hard it is for those who have money to enter into the reign of Elohim. And the taught ones were astonished at his words. And Yeshua, responding, said to them again, Children, how hard is it for those who trust in riches to enter into the reign of Elohim? We don't need Uno cards on the thing. That's our happy baby. It is easier for a camel to enter through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the reign of Elohim. And they were immeasurably astonished, saying among themselves, Who then is able to be saved? And looking at them, Yeshua said, With men it is impossible, but not with Elohim, for with Elohim all is possible. And Kepha began to say to him, See, we have left all, and we have followed you. Yeshua said, Truly I say to you, there is no one who has left house or brothers or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands, for the sake of me and the good news, who shall not receive 100-fold now in this time, houses and brothers and sisters and mothers and children and lands, with persecutions, and in the age to come, everlasting life. But many who are first shall be last, and the last first. And they were on their way, going up to Jerusalem, and Yeshua was going before them. And they were astonished, and those who followed were afraid. And again he took the 12 aside, and began to say to them what was about to befall him. See, we are going up to Jerusalem, and the son of Adam shall be delivered to the chief priests and to the scribes, and they shall condemn him to death, and shall deliver him to the nations, and they shall mock him, and flog him, and spit on him, and kill him. And the third day he shall rise again. And Yaakov and Yochanan, the sons of Zebedee, came up to him, saying, Teacher, we wish that you would do for us whatever we ask. And he said to them, What do you wish me to do for you? And they said to him, Grant us to be seated in your esteem, one on your right hand and the other on your left. But Yeshua said to them, You do not know what you ask. Are you able to drink the cup that I drink, and be immersed with the immersion that I am immersed with? And they said to him, We are able. And Yeshua said to them, You shall indeed drink the cup that I drink, and with the immersion I am immersed, you shall be immersed. But to sit on my right hand and on my left is not mine to give, but it is for those for whom it has been prepared. And when the 10 heard it, they began to be sorely displeased with Yaakov and Yochanan, James and John. And Yeshua, calling them near, said to them, You know that those who think to rule the nations are masters over them, and the great ones exercise authority over them. But it is not so among you, but whoever wishes to become great among you shall be your servant, and whoever wishes to be first among you shall be servant of all. For even the Son of Adam did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. And they came to Jericho, and as he was leaving Jericho with his taught ones and a large crowd, blind Bartimaeus, the son of Timai, was sitting by the way begging. And when he heard that it was Yeshua of Nazareth, he began to cry out and to say, Yeshua, son of David, have compassion on me. And many were reprimanding him to be silent, but he cried out all the more, Son of David, have compassion on me. And Yeshua stopped and said, Call him. And they called the blind man, saying to him, Take courage, arise, he is calling you. And he, throwing aside his garment, rose and came to Yeshua. And Yeshua, responding, said to him, What do you desire I do for you? And the blind man said to him, Rabboni, that I receive my sight. Thank you for watching. Please hit like and comment whatever Bible verse you want to talk about from this passage. Or no, there's one more verse. Sorry, everybody. Mark 10:52. And Yeshua said to him, Go, your belief has healed you. And immediately he saw again and followed Yeshua on the way. I think that's one of the most important verses of this whole reading. And I almost missed it. So, glad I got it. Goodbye.